Welcome to This Week in Health IT News, where we look at as many stories as we can in 20 minutes or less. It's Tuesday News Day, and here's what we have on tap. Microsoft invested $1 billion in OpenAI and artificial intelligence project. The VA names their first director of AI. And let's see, John Muir outsources a whole bunch of IT to Optum, and a whole bunch of other stories. We have about 10 of them listed here. There's no way we'll get to all of them. Let's see how many we get to. My name is Russell, recovering healthcare CIO and creator of This Week in Health IT. I've set up podcasts and videos dedicated to developing the next generation of health IT leaders. This podcast is brought to you by Health Lyrics. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a coach? Do you need a coach? Do you think you need a coach? What if you had someone in your corner who has been there, done that? Someone who is just a phone call away that could talk through the challenges that you're facing today. Someone that could help you to chart the course of navigating the challenging landscape of health IT. Let's talk. Visit healthlyrics.com to schedule your free consultation. Want to support the fastest growing podcast in the health IT space? Here are 5 easy ways you can do that. The first is share it with a peer. Second, follow our social accounts, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. Third, interact and repost our social media content. The fourth way, send me feedback. I love this. Send me questions, guest recommendations, you name it. Love the feedback. And then subscribe to our newsletter on the website. So let's get to the news. Microsoft invests $1 billion in artificial intelligence project. OpenAI, co-founded by Elon Musk. They just threw in the Elon Musk to get more hits to the news story, I think, because he's no longer associated with it. But this is CNBC. Lauren Feiner is the author. So Microsoft's going to invest $1 billion in OpenAI as part of the project. The company said, while today's AI can tackle simple tasks, which is true, the company's said AGI, otherwise known as Artificial General Intelligence, a little smarter, human-like, will be able to tackle more multidisciplinary problems. This is pretty interesting in that Microsoft, slick move here, Microsoft Azure will be the sole cloud provider for OpenAI. Artificial general intelligence, they think, is going to solve everything that ails the world, climate change, you name it. Most importantly, tech dev and human. Here's their quote. This is the most important tech development in human history, with the potential to shape the trajectory of humanity. And they're not the only ones that feel that way. As I said earlier, Musk left this thing back in 2018. A little bit because he was going to focus in on Tesla and the problems they were having in production, but also he's a little freaked out by AI. He's thinks it's more of the future is Terminator, and he's watched that movie too many times and doesn't like the way it ends. So he has pulled out of AI. The other thing, obviously, is that Tesla is playing in AI, especially around self-driving cars, and there was a potential conflict there. So he moved on. So I guess the question is, what can artificial general intelligence do? And, in theory, AGI could carry out any task that a human can, which, and actually some tasks that humans really can't. At the very least, AGI would be able to combine human-like flexible thinking and reasoning with computational power and advantages like instant recall and split-second number crunching. So you can imagine what it can do. It's layering on decisions that it can do with the ability instant math, instant recall. It's important to note that it really doesn't exist yet, which is really interesting. So this is $1 billion investment in the future. You've seen it though. So you've seen this. It's the stuff of science fiction. Terminator, The Matrix. Mr. Anderson. Whatever the nemesis is. I can't even think of his name right now. Anyway, Terminator, The Matrix, Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams. AGI tends to be depicted as a mesh between the computational side of it and the machine that either destroys the world, and that is the one that we see the most because those movies gross the highest amount because it tends to capture our imagination. Or the other, which is, it enhances the world, which is sort of your Bicentennial Man. It's more fun to consider, but not as much fun to watch on film, it would appear. AGI is truly the holy grail of artificial intelligence. So what? We end all these stories with a so what, and it is, Microsoft is making a meaningful investment in this important area of AI. They're trying to bring these capabilities to Azure, which is important as well. And they're making sure that they are going to be a player in this AI space. There was a time where we'd talk about what tribe you belong to. We still do it, right? You're an Epic shop, you're a Cerner shop, you're a Meditech shop. In network, you could be a Cisco, Juniper, whatever shop. In operating systems, this is really going back, before Windows was the dominant player. You might have said, we're a Windows shop, an OS2 shop, a Novell shop. As you can see from some of these examples, these things really come and go. As technology evolves, they sort of dissipate. We have winners, we have losers. But there is a time where it's really important to decide which horse you're going to place your bet on. And the time is really either now or pretty close on the AI side. The question becomes, are you a Microsoft shop? Microsoft, Amazon, Google, IBM to a certain extent, Oracle, Wipro, or even specialty type companies, IASD, Rainbird, and others. The question becomes, where do you go for machine learning, NLP, automation, cloud infrastructure? Microsoft wants to be your AI cloud, and they are making the investments to back it up. They're not the only ones making the investments, by the way. I mean, we had a conversation with John Halamka on one of the earlier episodes, and John with Beth Israel Deaconess moved on from the CIO roles, now sort of an innovation type role, and one of the first things he did was a partnership with Amazon around machine learning, more than which is a subdivision of AI. So more of a machine learning kind of thing where they're looking at specifically how this can be applied to medicine and to improving, at this point, really improving the efficiency. I mean, John talks a lot about improving their OR efficiency and improving their document processing and other things with just simple machine learning and AI tasks that are connected into the workflow and making things happen. So that's our first story. Spent a lot of time on that, but that's a really interesting story. I think has a lot of impact. Let's stay on this for a minute. Let's stay on AI for just one more minute. So the VA has appointed a first director of artificial intelligence. I bring this up because I think it's interesting in that this role didn't really exist, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes ago, but it's now a thing. So Gil, Altervitz, PhD, formerly professor of Division of Medical Science, Computational Health, Informatics at Harvard Medical School, Boston Children's Hospital, will lead the VA's AI work. The VA is putting AI to work to reduce veterans' waiting times, again, efficiency side for appointments. Another application is suicide prevention, through the Reach Vet program. The VA uses AI to scan medical records and to look for signs of vets at high risk of suicide. A report on the VA website notes that Altervitz, I better get that right, Altervitz, will be working closely with Scott Duvall, who heads up the VA informatics and computing infrastructure to put VA data to work for veterans. An example of Million Veterans Program, MVP, which has already collected genomic and health data on more than 750,000 consenting veteran volunteers, making it one of the world's largest genomic databases. This is what we need. Let's see. Here's a good quote. This is what you need to do optimal AI. A lot of deep knowledge, Alterovitz said in the report. AI is the key to really taking advantage of the data to help vets and potentially others as well. Interesting. So what on this? And this is really simple. What's your answer to this question? This is an important discipline. Who in your organization is responsible for it? Specifically, AI. AI is a very important discipline. Who is responsible for it within your organization? If you can't answer that question very quickly, it might be something you want to give some mind time to, because this will be a specific discipline, and it could be a part of your analytics and part of your advanced analytics and big data strategy. It could be something completely different, and I think it probably will be something completely different. It is a discipline into itself. Okay, let's move on. So John Muir Health outsources IT, revenue cycle, analytics, and more to Optum. Mike Milliard, Healthcare IT News. John Muir Health and Optum are embarking on a new partnership that will see the Bay Area Health System outsource most of its technology and billing functions to United Health subsidiary Optum, why it matters. Optum will manage John Muir's non-clinical IT systems, analytics, revenue cycle management, purchasing and claims processing. The company will also work to boost the ambulatory care coordination and utilization management services for John Muir Physician Network. The goal, officials say, is to streamline the efficiency of administrative operations using innovative technologies, helping reduce administrative workload and allowing health systems focus more on patient care. There's your phrase. When you hear that phrase, just think they are outsourcing. We are going to reduce administrative workflow by allowing the health system to focus more on patient care, which means, hey, we're not that great at IT in certain areas, and we're going to get really good at it because we're just going to go partner with somebody who's really good at it. Optum also hopes to accelerate John Muir's value-based care efforts by deploying some of its own clinical technologies and advanced analytics software at the point of care, helping the health system with patient engagement and Pop Health. As part of the terms of the deal that were not disclosed, well, I don't know how we know it, but as part of the terms of the deal that were not disclosed, some 540 John Muir staff will become Optum employees as a team dedicated to the health system, officials say. Noting that those employees will gain access to new skills, training, workforce development opportunities. So those people are going to be Optum employees. Let's see, anything else they go on and say, anything exciting? Here's some. So a trend towards outsourcing of IT services and revenue cycle capabilities has been gaining momentum across the industry in recent years, but this deal is more extensive and sizable than many. Another different strategy has been tried recently by Providence St. Joseph Health, a major Epic client that recently acquired Epic consultancy Bluetree, bringing the company's expertise in-house to help advance its own quality improvement efforts, while also diversifying its revenue stream by helping other providers with their IT initiatives. Let's see, that's about it. So what? Outsourcing the basic tasks of IT and revenue cycle and other things is making a comeback. Here's a simple question. Can you provide the basic services of compute, storage, network security better than an outsourced provider? Since this show's for health IT, not necessarily rev cycle people, can you provide those things better? And I guess the first question would be, what is better? So better would be more reliable, less cost, more flexible, more adaptive to the needs of the organization. If the answer is no to those, well, you may want to get better at it real quick or start interviewing potential vendors, because this is a trend that's starting to kick up. The margins in healthcare are not that great. You can't afford to not be at the top of your game in terms of your ability to deliver these basic services to the health system. And business leaders are starting to try to figure out how to move a little faster. And outsourcing is one of the arrows in their quiver. So just know that that's there. Know that that's a potential. Let's see. Let's do this story. So, because I think this is interesting. So for value-based care, a Texas health system puts cost and risk data at the point of care. Healthcare IT News, Bill Sawicki. Let's see. With the cost data technology integrated with its Epic EHR, Houston Methodist Sugar Land has reported approximately $717,000 in attributable cost savings, with an average incremental cost reduction of $105 per admission. The shift from volume to value-based care and payment models requires physicians to focus on exceptional care delivery while also managing resources appropriately. Physicians always focus on quality of care, but now they also are being called upon to partner to reduce overall costs. So how do they do that? Ultimately, however, we can't partner to manage costs if we don't have the data we need to aid in cost consciousness, clinical decision making, said Dr. Nicholas Desai, System Chief Medical Information Officer and surgeon at Houston Methodist Sugar Land. 2018 Deloitte survey of 624 U.S. primary care and specialty physicians revealed that 72% of those surveyed considered cost data to be valuable, especially at the point of care, while only 28% received that information. A smaller survey conducted with physicians at one of the Houston Methodist hospitals reflected a similar result. The adage, you can't manage what you can't measure, It's absolutely true. You can't manage what you can't measure. So that rings true. Our physicians need data and to be true partners in clinical and financial stewardship efforts. And so what did they do? They implemented a smart ribbon. This is just one of those models to get the data into the workflow. The smart ribbon is from a vendor called Illumicare. Illumicare, a healthcare IT startup located in Birmingham, Alabama. They bring that data right into the ribbon so that when they're seeing the patient and they're caring for them, they are able to see cost data, and in that cost data, they're able to help them to navigate the most appropriate level of care for what they're trying to do. So it's not just putting them on a path that says, we're going to get you 65 tests, we're going to send you here, we're going to do this. It's actually considering and talking to the patient about what's the level of care that makes the most sense for them, that they would like to have, and not have surprise bills, not be in control of their own destiny. So I'd like this, even though this article is really a piece to promote Illumicare, but I'll give it a shout out because I love the solution. If only 72% said, hey, this data would be valuable, and only 28% are receiving it, this is one of those areas where you can get a quick win, get that data in front of the physicians, and let them care for their patients in a little better way. So, one thing I want to hit on, and this isn't even a story, this is just a flat-out advertisement. A video made its way into my feed, and I rarely look at these videos, but this looked interesting, and the video was on AWS Outpost, so AWS, Amazon Web Services Outpost. And what AWS Outposts are fully managed configurable compute and storage racks built on AWS designed hardware. And so you can use this anywhere. They'll send you the AWS Outpost, and it extends your native AWS services, and you can put that in your data center, in a colo space, on-prem facility, and extend your AWS and your VMware cloud to your data center. I found this to be really fascinating. Back when we were moving to the cloud back in 2011, this stuff didn't exist. We had to build a private cloud. So we built a private cloud because we couldn't get a BAA done with Microsoft. We couldn't get it done with AWS. Couldn't get it done with Google. We couldn't get it done with other providers, smaller providers. We just couldn't get it done with anybody. So we had to build out our own. But I think that's an old model. I think that model's going away, and I think this is one of those things that I think is the next movement you're going to see in cloud service from these cloud services providers. I would be shocked if we don't see this from Microsoft. Today, what Microsoft relies on is that you're going to build out your compute, your storage, and architect that rack correctly, and then connect to their Azure. And I think what they're finding, as well as others, is good architects are hard to find. The architecture on this thing, this video is worth watching. The architecture on this rack is exceptional. The density they are able to get into that rack, the way it's architected for continuity and failover is exceptional. And this is what happens when you take all the knowledge that they have from AWS in the racks in their data centers around the world, and you put that towards a problem, which is, how do we extend this thing all the way down into the environment that we are trying to serve, and extend our cloud to the client data center? Again, video is worth watching. The concept is worth watching. I think you're going to see this more and more. We saw this in different ways way back when. Google Search. There was a Google Search appliance that we used to buy that Google Search appliance and put it into our environment, and we'd be able to provide Google-like search across all of our data stores within our environment, and that still may be available. I haven't looked at it recently, but those cloud providers with really good architects are thinking, how can we get this down into the environment? Worth a look. You know what? That's about 20 minutes. So that's all for this week. We'll get to some of these stories hopefully next week, because there's some really good stuff going on here. So, this past Friday, we spoke with Seth Hain, VP of R&D for Epic, on AI. Wonderful conversation. If you hadn't had a chance to listen to it, you may want to check it out. Keep sending me your comments. Bill at thisweekinhealthit.com. Good, bad, or indifferent. It all helps. I'm getting some interesting feedback on our daily launch that we just did, and we're probably going to revamp it based on your comments. And again, keep them coming. Really appreciate it. Be sure to tune in this Friday. We've already recorded a couple shows, and we're going to be recording a couple more upcoming here shortly. You're going to want to check those out. So this show is a production of This Week in Health IT. For more great content, check out the website, thisweekinhealthit.com, or the YouTube channel at thisweekinhealthit.com. Just click on the video button on the top of the website. Thanks for listening. That's all for now.